Hey, what's going on, heavy metal fans? Metal up your ass. This will be pretty cool. It's going to be quite a big undertaking for me because there's a lot of music to go through here. These are going to be my favorite metal, punk, and hard rock or hardcore bands. And like I said, it's going to be a huge undertaking. And I'm doing this with one arm, so this is hard to do. But we're just going to wing it. So let's just do this. First band we got. That glare is gonna be a bitch, ain't it? Arson Anthem, one of the many bands of one Philip H. Anselmo that you'll probably see on this list. Amazing band, amazing record. This is their second album. One of the best. I think this is their best, actually. If you're a fan of bands like Poison Idea, Negative Approach, Black Flag, you'll definitely dig this. It's definitely a throwback type of band that Phil, Hank 3, Mike 9, and Colin Rogers formed. I don't think they're a band anymore, sadly, but this is a badass album. Arson Anthem, Insecurity, Notoriety. Alright, up next we have NTS, their album Cut Your Flesh and Worship Satan. Definitely a badass modern black metal album, definitely one of my favorites. Absolutely love this album. One of my favorite songs is Bleeding Blasphemy and Those With No Eyes. These guys are from France. They're still going strong, but man, it's some badass black metal. Pure, non-fucking blasphemic black metal for sure. Let's see. Here we have Acid Witch. Acid Witch to me personifies horror metal. Slasher Dave is just, he's a genius. The riffs he comes up with and the concepts he comes up with, they're just horrific. Love them. Riffs that stick in your head. Definitely a good soundtrack for Halloween. I listen to it, not even Halloween, but all the time, man. It's just one of those albums you can always go to. If you're a fan of horror and extreme metal, a lot of catchy riffs and a lot of atmosphere, you'll fucking dig this shit for sure. Acid Witch. And then we have, sorry, like I said, they're doing this with one arm. This is hard to do. Rest in Peace Lane. One of my absolute favorite albums ever. Alice in Chains, Dirt. Don't get any better than that. Definitely a monumental grunge album. They definitely changed the game with this one. Amazing musicianship. And Lane's vocals are just so inspiring to me. Just amazing album, amazing band, still going strong as well. And we'll do some punk rock here, some classic punk rock with Adolescence. Definitely one of my favorites. I Hate Children. Classic. Yeah, this is so hard to do with one arm. Alright. Here we have Anal Cunt. Definitely a band in the PC Pussy society we live in today, I think. Definitely has more of a meaning. Just to piss everyone off. Amazing album, 40 More Reasons to Hate Us. Philip H. Anselmo makes an appearance on many of these songs as well, which is awesome. But Scott Hall's guitar work is just fucking unmatched for sure. And we have a classic thrash metal album here. With Anthrax, Among the Living. This and Fistful of Metal are my favorites, I think. But this was the first one I ever heard, so it holds a special place in my heart. And there's some just badass classic Scott Ian riffing on this shit. Monumental classic thrash metal album for sure. And we're gonna do some funeral doom here with Ahab. The Call of the Wretched Sea, one of my favorite funeral doom albums. Just has so much atmosphere. You almost feel like you're hunting Moby Dick when you listen to this, you know. Unbelievable atmosphere. Great riffage. Then we have Amoebics. Called Arise. This was actually the actual album cover. But yeah, this is a reissue, but yeah, great album. Very influential to what would become the second wave of Norwegian black metal for sure. Dark Throne in particular were very inspired by these bands for their sounds on, Fuck Off and Die and Circle the Wagons, their later albums. Badass shit, for sure. Then we go with some New York hardcore with Agnostic Front, Something's Gotta Give. Probably my favorite album by them. One of the first ones I ever heard. One of my first introductions to New York hardcore, for sure. A great introduction. Vinny Stigma, amazing guitar player. Here we go to some brutal ass death metal. One of my absolute favorites, Autopsy Mental Funeral. This record just is so unrelenting, so atmospheric, so horrific, so disgusting. Chris Rifford is just a sick genius. And on top of that, he plays drums and sings at the same time, so I have so much respect for his talent doing that. But this is my absolute favorite. I like Severed Survival as well. In fact, I like Shit Fun. I like all their albums, really. But this one always holds a special place in my heart. Mental Funeral. Just unbelievable riffage on here. In the Grip of Winter. God. Hole in the Head, probably my favorite. Just not a bad moment. All killer, for sure. Use that Autopsy, Mental Funeral. You may do some more classic punk here with Anti-Scene. Eat More Possum. Fuck yeah. These guys are absolute punk rock legends. And they're still going strong and they don't give a fuck. Cactus Jack, one of my first songs I ever heard by them. Homage to the wrestler Mick Foley. Anti-Scene's great. Definitely not for everybody, but you know them. This is probably one of my favorite albums ever recorded. And that is Acid Bath, When the Kite String Pops. Sammy's riffs are just so catchy on both this and the Pagan Terroristic Tactics, or what the hell it's called. That one sounds fucking great too. But this one is always the one I always come back to. Definitely got the infamous John Wayne Gacy portrait, which the band didn't even fucking want. The label pretty much talked them into it. But yeah, this is such an amazing album. Every song. One of my favorite albums of all time, of any genre, really. Acid Bath, When This Kite String Pops. And the last of the A's. We go to Sphinx. Last One on Earth. Classic death metal. I would say if you're a fan of Obituary and bands like that, you'll definitely dig this sound. Badass. Then we're gonna go to some Bees. Oh wait, I have Alice Cooper here. Sorry, it's Burn. I gotta upgrade. I love this album, Brutal Planet by Alice Cooper. By the man, the master. So we're going into some Bees now. Here we got Bad Religion. How could hell be any worse? Definitely my favorite album by them. I would say after this they kind of got a little bit more poppy punk. They still kick ass, but they kind of get a little more commercial sounding, but this one sounds just so raw and pissed off. And definitely classic 80s punk for sure. Bad Religion. Payback. Biohazard, man. State of the World Address. Evan Seinfeld, one of my absolute favorite metal personalities, hardcore personalities. The guy is just fucking badass. I love the whole band. I love everything they put out. It's really cool to see that they reunited. I saw that they recently played the Milwaukee Metal Fest. I unfortunately missed that. But I seen the videos on YouTube, and man, they still got it. But this album, I heard at a very early age, and it definitely made an impression on me. Badass album. And then we go into Black Witchery. Tell you what, I'm going to turn a light on because this glare is really pissing me off. Just hold on 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. That any better? Yeah, that's a little better, huh? Upheaval of Satanic Might. Amazing Black Witchery album. R.I.P. Tridenda, for sure. Amazing guitar player, amazing musician. Fucking war metal, battle metal, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There's just an all-out assault on your senses. Badass black metal. Yeah, we do some more classic here. Bad Brains, band in DC. Very, very influential album to later metal bands. Just in attitude and style. A very, very controversial band too. They didn't take any shit. And they stood up for what they believed in. And it's pretty much if reggae was punk, you know. They got some reggae moments in there as well. Just all out amazing musicians. But this album, one of my favorites for sure. The mighty Zakk Wylde, Stronger Than Death. It's probably my favorite album by the mighty BLS. There we go. Yeah, it's a badass album. And we got a controversial one here. Azawas and Burzum. I'm not gonna fucking pronounce that. Don't make me. But yeah, this is probably my favorite Burzum record. It's just so atmospheric. Really puts you in like, pretty much like you feel like that guy on the cover. You're just in the woods, dead on a roadside, basically. Say what you want about Varg Vikernes. I personally don't like him or his philosophy on life, but those first 4 Burzum records were definitely monumental, influential classics. And I think Burzum had a lot to do with depressive black metal later as well. Here we go to Black Flag Damaged. One of my absolute favorites by them. I don't know, it's between this and My War. Everything Went Black is great too, but I seem to always come back to Damage. I like Henry Rollins. This is a great album. Always a good album to put on when you're fucking pissed off, for sure. We got classic black metal album here, Drawing Down the Moon by Beherit. My favorite album by them, hands down. Doesn't get any more atmospheric and evil than this album. Like, it's just so... It was just so ahead of its time as far as the production goes. Just the sheer satanic elements they put in their music. They practice what they preach. Be Here at Drawing Down the Moon, one of my absolute favorite black metal albums. Yeah, another favorite black metal album here. Original OG pressing, too. Look at that shit. Yeah, Slayer, one of the best death metal LPs ever released. They're calling Bathory death metal. That's pretty badass. Glad to have found this. Under the Sign of the Black Mark. This is so hard to do with one arm. Such a classic atmospheric black metal album. A lot of people say The Return is their favorite, which I get. You know, I love The Return as well. The Return is an amazing album. So is their self-titled, but there's just something about Under the Sign of the Black Mark. It's just got such a fucking evil atmosphere and sound to it. And I love the orchestrations, like the synths and shit too. Kind of makes it into like a horror movie. Korthon was a absolute genius. Rest in peace. Alright, I think that's it for the bees. Oh, nope, sorry. I don't know where the fucking cover went for this either. But this is Buzz Oven at a Loss. One of my favorite Buzz Oven albums. Definitely sludge metal personified. Definitely riffs that stick in your head. A lot of drug and alcohol references, kind of like I Hate God. Amazing band. They're still going strong as well. And we cannot forget the ones that started it all, Black Sabbath. This is Master of Reality. It was hard to pick a Black Sabbath album because they're just all amazing. But this is the one I usually come to a lot. This in Volume 4. Master of Reality. Into the Void is my favorite Black Sabbath song for sure. I think it helped spawn so many doom metal bands like Electric Wizard, Typo Negative, Cathedral, you name it. Monumental. Nothing but respect for Black Sabbath. I'm gonna go to some more Funeral Doom. I don't know where the cover went for this one either, but this is Bell Witch Longing. Definitely my favorite Bell Witch album. The first one I ever heard, I was just really blown away by the atmosphere. And I love the fact that they did a sample from Mask of the Red Death, the old Vincent Price movie, which is one of my favorites too. But yeah, Bell Witch Longing, fuck yeah, that's an amazing album. And I think this is the last B here. And it goes to Bolt Thrower. They've always never made a dud, but Realm of Chaos is definitely my favorite. This is definitely like their more grindcore type album too. Like you could hear like the Napalm Death influences in this. But they always do their own thing, and they always just deliver some amazing fucking riffs on every one of their albums. Bolt Thrower, hail. Alright, well that is it for the C's, I believe. No, the hell am I talking? No, that's it for the B's. Now we're on to the C's. We're going to start with Confessor. Unrevealed. Amazing fucking album. The drums on this album are just unbelievable. One of my favorites. I love the vocal melodies too. Confessor rules. Some sick, crazy shit right here with Crippled Bastards. This is some fast-ass shit. If you're a fan of insane grindcore like Drop Dead and Napalm Death and Extreme Noise Terror, I would highly recommend Crippled Bastards. These guys are just go for the kill. Amazing album. Yeah, we got some old Cradle of Filth here with Dusk in Her Embrace. This is probably my favorite Cradle album. Actually, the first one I heard was Cruelty and the Beast, that's right. But, yeah, this was the first one I actually bought. And it still is my favorite. I love the atmosphere, the Hammer Films type atmosphere they put in their music. Fuck yeah. Danny Filth sounds so sick on the vocals on this album. Love it. I still old Cradle. Their new shift's okay too. I mean, they're still, they're still going. I think Thornography kind of threw me off, but I think they kind of picked up the ball again. Then we have the Mighty Cathedral with Force of Equilibrium. Definitely one of my favorite Cathedral albums. There's, I love The Last Sphere too, which is their last album, but I love the slowness of Force of Equilibrium. Just the riffage, just so sick. Lee Dorian's vocals sound so sick as well. Amazing, monumental doom metal album for sure. Very, very influential. Then we have Cancer, To the Gory End. It's amazing how young they were when they made this album, and it still stands up to this day. Amazing fucking album. Classic death metal the way it should be played. Definitely. Cancer. Then we go with some Corrosion of Conformity with Wise Blood. I almost put Deliverance on here. But yeah, if something happens with Wise Blood, it takes me back to my youth, I guess, because that was the first one I ever heard by this great band. Of course, Pepper Keenan, absolute legend. Woody Witherman, amazing guitar player. Awesome fucking band. Seen them many times. Big fan, Corrosion of Conformity. Hell yeah. I'll do some Funeral Doom here. This is Catacombs. In the Depths of I can't pronounce that, I apologize. But Catacombs is probably the heaviest band I've ever heard in my life. They are so heavy, they're terrifying. Just death doom, funeral doom. Like, it's just very, very slow. And it's a one-man black metal band. Or a one-man doom metal band. But very rare vinyl to find too. It's actually a two-parter. But yeah, Catacombs. Cannot go wrong with Catacombs. Catacombs to me is definitely music you put on if you want a really creepy Lovecraftian atmosphere. And we have Carpathian Forest with Strange Old Brew. It was hard to pick a Carpathian Forest album because they're all so fucking good. And they're also diverse too. But this one, I love the sound of it. I love the riffs. Eddie Frost sounds so sick. But that is Strange Brew by Carpathian Forest. I apologize for the glare. This isn't very most professional, but it is what it is. We got Charge GBH, The Clay Ears, pretty rare CD. A really good one. Yeah, Sick Boy. Sick Boy's badass. Christianized Cannibals. Very influential to bands like, definitely Metallica were influenced. You see James in the early years wearing shirts by these guys. Badass. And one of my favorite bands of all time, with Crowbar, and it was impossible to pick a Crowbar album, just one. I mean, I love them all. They never made a bad album in their career as far as I'm concerned. But I chose Time Heals Nothing. I love the riffage. I love the lyrics. Kirk's just singing from his soul. Numb Sensitive is probably one of my favorite Crowbar songs. I just love it. It's so fucking heavy. This is a badass album. Time Heals Nothing. You ever heard it? Check it out. But like I said, they never made a bad album. Then we have Craft with Tear Propaganda. Second black metal attack. If you're a fan of old Dark Throne, you're gonna love this. This is like, if people are sick of hearing what Dark Throne's putting out now, I personally am not, because I love everything they put out. but I know people do get sick of their either punk rock or their doom or whatever, and you want to hear something like, I don't know, Transylvanian Hunger or something. Check out Craft. I think you'll have a good time with this one. One of my absolute favorite modern black metal bands for sure. Fuck yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do some Cramps, classic Cramps. You're a horror fan, you definitely must know the Cramps. God, this glare is absolutely horrible. Psychedelic Jungle, Gravest Hits. Really cool set. And we have Christ Inversion. This is one of Phil Anselmo's many bands. This is one of his black metal bands. Very badass band. This actually is a demo called Obey the Will of Hell, and he put it out on Housecore. Still waiting for their full-length Luciferian 13 Luciferian Rites or whatever the fuck it's called. That's good. That's a good album. But yeah, this is a very, very evil album. Good US black metal, Christian version. Yeah, we got one of my favorite albums here. Rest in peace to the late great Pete Steele. We have Carnivore Retaliation. Oh man, what can I even say? This album is just so classic. I'd love to get it on vinyl. It's got one of the greatest intros ever with Peter puking in a toilet. Fucking Retaliation, definitely influential to bands like Crowbar. Many others. And we have Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales, a picture disc. I'm not the biggest fan of picture discs, but I couldn't pass this one up. This is pretty badass. Probably my favorite Celtic Frost album. Dethroned Emperor. Yep. Rest in peace, Martin. Definitely a guitar guy. Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales. Then we got Cro-Mags with Age of Quarrel. I saw them with I Hate God. They were fucking amazing, man. Like, they didn't miss a beat. They were absolutely insane live. Just never seen hardcore, New York hardcore style pits, man. It was nuts. It also comes with Best Wishes. Cro-Mags badass. Oh, just some classic grindcore here with Carcass, Rika Purification. Definitely one of the monumental grindcore albums for sure. Or grindcore if you want to call it that. They pretty much invented their whole genre. Them and Repulsion. We have a fucking badass death doom band here with little black metal elements called Churchburn. I love that band name. It's so badass. The Waiting Coffins. Hi, Binky. Look who joined us. Hey, are you a metal kitty? Are you a metal kitty? Probably wondering why the hell are you taking my spot. Yeah, Churchburn's badass. If you're a fan of really heavy ass riffage, you'll love this. Pretty much any of these bands I'm showing, check them out. I got Mighty Cannibal Corpse with The Bleeding. I love every Cannibal Corpse album. They never made a dud, but I don't know, I always seem to come back to this one more than not. That is The Bleeding. Focus, you piece of shit. God, this video sucks. I'm sorry. You have Coffin Worm. Coffin Worm's badass. Another good death doom band with black metal elements. Then we have Convulse, World Without God. Really good Swedish black death metal, right in the lines of like Entomb, Left Hand Path, and Dismember, like an Everflowing Stream, and Carnage, bands like that. But definitely a badass band. then I have one more C, and I'm gonna take a break here. And that is Carnage, Dark Recollections. Michael Amott went to go join Carcass and later Arch Enemy. This is one of his first bands. And I think this fucking album is so Swedish black metal, death metal personified. Really heavy riffage. Riffs that stick in your head for sure. Kind of just like Entombed for sure. But yes. And that is the last of this for now. I'll come back. I'm going to try to fix this lighting situation. I apologize. It's not the greatest lighting in the world. But yes, I will come back with more extreme music for extreme people. Hope you enjoyed it. Skidgore and Binker Stinker saying stay metal.